Good morning to all my friends and family, and welcome to this episode of Jim's 5am Club. It's another overcast day here in Sydney, as you can see, but it is a very still morning. I can see the breeze coming in from the west, but the colours of these ferries are just brilliantly contrasted against the greyness of Sydney Harbour this morning. Anyway, excuse me, let's get on with it. And I've got another book summary to take you through today. A book entitled Your Next 5 Moves by an author named Patrick Bet-David. An interesting book on strategy, on business, on career management, and a lot of life skills can be plucked from these writings. And the author then goes on to kick off the book with an observation, and it's an interesting observation that most people don't think more than 2 moves ahead in their lives, and dare I say most people don't think at all, and are just drifting through life and just react to stimulus and situations without giving it much thought at all. But the author here once again brings to our attention that we need to do a lot more thinking and anticipation of what's going to happen in our lives through planning, through scenario analysis, so that we're ready and prepared for when the situation arises, so it doesn't take us by surprise. So the author reminds us and tells us that in business, in chess, in life, it's all about anticipation. And I remember years ago reading about the importance of making decisions and being able to, interpret and consider the first, second and third level consequences of the actions that you take, because for each action there's an equal and opposite reaction. We know that in science, but it also occurs in human nature and in business. So whatever we decide to do, we need to understand that there are consequences and there are considerations that we need to take into at least consider, things that we need to consider when making decisions, knowing fair well that it's going to impact others and ourselves. Now, we don't live in isolation, and not everything in life is binary. There are many flow-on effects of our decisions. So just like everything, the author says here that the answers to a lot of life's problems is a series of moves deployed in a proper sequence. Just like baking a cake, just like following a recipe. Even though we've got the ingredients, we need to combine those ingredients in a particular sequence and in particular proportions in order to get the outcome that we most desire. So the author talks here about a concept called future truth. And future truth is where you live in the now, but with consideration of the future. So he says, behave now as if the future were manifest. So I guess it's living with the future in mind, and taking the actions that are required in order to manifest that future. The author says that it's important in life to be able to shift the odds into our favour, to play to our strengths, to do the homework, to do the staff work, to do everything that's required in order to shift the odds into our favour Because if we just leave it to chance, if we're just drifting and hoping that the current, the tide, the winds will take us where we need to be, where we're living, we're living a lie, and we're just never going to get there. Just like that ship there, just like that ferry is propelling itself and heading towards Manly and will steer around the Opera House, so too we need to be a little bit more purposeful in our lives, knowing where we are, where we want to go, what are the tools that we have available to us so that we can maneuver and get to that destination, or at least move closer to that destination, so we can make other decisions along the way as to whether or not we do indeed want to get to that particular desired destination. The author talks a lot about becoming an expert processor. As expert processors, don't fear issues. Now, people who are problem solvers don't fear problems. They just know that and thrive in a problem environment because they know how to deal with problems. Not everybody knows how to deal with problems, but if you're an expert processor, if you're able to isolate and break down a problem and be honest with your questioning, then you'll see that each and every crisis is an opportunity. There's a seed for an opportunity, and that each problem has a solution. Not only has one solution, but according to the author, there are many solutions. As the old adage says, there's more than one way to skin a cat. So too, problems have many different solutions, and it's all about execution and getting that solution and an action put in place. Because the author says that once you break down a problem, you quickly identify that it takes money and resources to solve the problem, and each and every one of us need to do that cost-benefit analysis to work out if those costs and if implementing those resources are going to bring us the benefit. And I guess I've learnt over the years, working in the telecommunications industry, pricing bids and major projects, that at the end of the day it's all about money and resources, and people always tend to underestimate the number of resources and the type of resources that are required. But another key lesson that I've learnt is it's all about being effective, not efficient. You need to become effective first in order to get a project beyond the critical humps and speed bumps in the beginning. And then once you become effective, then and only then you can become efficient, and you can start playing with those resources and replacing those resources. The author then goes on to say something else which is really powerful, that when it comes to resources and talent, we must understand that the recruitment process doesn't end when the person joins the organisation. We need to recruit, train and retrain people and respect their talents and nurture and expand their talents wherever possible. And great organisations, great managers are the ones that can continue to effectively manage talent and to lead the talent to high performance. As I've said many times, I've worked in a number of high performance teams in a number of the best organisations in the world, and some of the best that I've worked for are the ones that continue to bend and stretch you and to enable you to grow and develop over your entire career, as opposed to just sticking to doing a job for year after year after year until you become redundant and obsolete. So in order to continue to get the best out of employees and the best out of ourselves, The author says that there are a number of motivators that we need to keep our mind on. There are some motivators such as equity. Others want profit share. Others are happy with a good and growing salary. Others yet need bonuses. Some others are motivated by security of tenure, knowing that they're going to be working and going to the same job every day for the next 10 years. And others are motivated by peer recognition and just being patted on the back. So there's a number of ingredients there, and the author says that it's all about working on that compensation plan that suits the individual rather than having a one-size-fits-all. We need to be able to create the right melody for each ear, and as we said, each person is different. And the more you work at personalising the compensation plan to the actual employee, the more you get them to be able to, be committed to the task. Because as we know, a committed employee is a very valuable employee, and a homeowner will treat their house much better than a renter. So it's great to have, and it's imperative to have, employees who are committed to the organisation and loyal. So that's why, as a business, we need to bring different tunes together. We need to bring different talents together and to harmonise them, because they're all different sounds. So a symphony is made up of a lot of different sounds, awkward sounds, that are combined in a way that create a melody. And the author then goes on to talk about how important it is in order to bring that melody together by having shared values. Because when people are working together and they have a shared goal, a shared value, it's going to bring a better outcome, according to the author here. So the author then goes on to say something else which is really interesting and really powerful, something that I've never considered before. But he says that the less a business depends on you, the more valuable it becomes. And he says it's all about focusing on your strengths and then replacing yourself in all the other areas, outsourcing yourself with other people, where people replace you and take over the functions that are not necessarily your strengths, but it's something that other people can do. So it's really important. You know, some people think that it's as a leader to become irreplaceable, but in business, sometimes the best thing to do is to be replaceable and to replicate yourself, your skills, and to complement and supplement your skills with skills of others. Because at the end of the day, a leader's job is to be the person who spreads the right mindset, spreads the right culture, rather than the person who does all the work. I'm going to get on this train now, so just bear with me. I'll just grab my bags and head towards the back of the train. And I guess that's probably about it. The key pieces of information that I've been able to glean from this book, from this author. And the last, I guess, key point that he shapes his argument is where he says that when managing a business, it's important to use quantitative data as opposed to qualitative. You know, when you're running a business, when you're running a team, to use facts rather than emotion and words, to be able to factually get people to understand where you're coming from. Anyway, I think I'll leave it there. Take care, everybody. Have a good rest of the day, and we'll chat again soon. Bye. Bye for now.